Welcome back to another Genshin Interact video. Let us know down in the comments if this guide was helpful or if you have any other tips or questions about Hu Tao and how to build her. Make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any future content. Speaking of which, we want to thank our community for reaching the goal of 1,000 subscribers. Thank you for watching, now on to the video.
Head of the Wangqing Funeral Parlor Hu Tao gets another rerun at the beginning of the Fontaine versions. Working so well with the Vaporizer reaction, this must be an aligning of the stars for some players to pull. Now let's take a closer look at how Hu Tao's talents work, which ones to level, and how high you should level into them. Your first talent to level should be her normal attack talent, since this is where most of Hu Tao's damage comes from. There is nothing inherently cool or different about her normal attacks until the skill is used. Speaking of her skill talent should be next in the priority of leveling her talents. These two ways are going to be the main way that she gets her damage out. When activating her skill, Hu Tao consumes some of her HP and enters the Paramita Papilio state. This state increases Hu Tao's attack based on her max HP. While in this state, Hu Tao's normal attacks gain a Pyro Infusion, and charge attacks can apply the Blood Blossom effect. The Blood Blossom effect deals pyro damage to enemies once every 4 seconds. Each enemy can only be affected by one Blood Blossom at a time. The last talent to level is her Burst. Hu Tao will unleash her Burst and deal pyro damage in a large AoE around herself. When hitting an enemy, the Burst regenerates some of Hu Tao's HP. This effect can happen up to 5 times, meaning that hitting 5 enemies is the maximum amount of enemies to hit to get as much healing back as possible. If Hu Tao's HP is at or below 50%, the damage from the burst and its healing are increased. Figuring your Hu Tao is level 80 or higher, the talent levels you should strive for on your Hu Tao are level 8 normal attack talent, level 8 skill talent, and level 8 burst talent. Even though the burst is not your main way of damaging, her burst is what keeps you alive when your skill consumes your HP and you're at low HP. Usually with Hu Tao, you will not run a healer since it takes away from a passive talent that helps her do more damage at that lower HP. This is why you should level into her burst just a little bit to give you better healing from the burst.
Looking beyond talents, we move over to Hu Tao's passives. Her first passive talent increases other party members' crit rate by 12% for 8 seconds after her skill duration ends. Her second passive talent increases pyro damage bonus by 33% when Hu Tao's HP is equal to or less than 50%. This is the passive talent that Vixen was just talking about. Keeping her at low HP heavily increases her damage, but it also makes her more vulnerable. Using a shielder will make sure she stays alive and does more damage for your team. After passives, we need to talk about artifact sets for Hu Tao. Crimson Witch of Flames, Shimenawa's Reminiscence, and Gilded Dreams are 3 good 4-piece artifact sets for Hu Tao. Looking into Crimson Witch of Flames, some would argue that it is Hu Tao's best in slot artifact set. The 2-piece set bonus gives 15% pyro damage bonus. The 4-piece set bonus increases overload and burning damage by 40%, and vaporize and melt damage is increased by 15%. Also, when using an elemental skill, the 2-piece set bonus is increased by 50% of its starting value. She'll get an additional 7.5% pyro damage bonus from the 4-piece, which comes out to 22.5% pyro damage bonus when using her skill. There is another set from Inazuma that makes some people wonder if Crimson really is Hu Tao's best set, and that set is Shimenawa's Reminiscence. The 2-piece set bonus on this set gives 18% attack. Now remember that Hu Tao takes HP and scales it into her attack through her skill, but actually does damage based off of her attack. This means getting this attack bonus from 2-piece Shimenawa does not actually hurt Hu Tao. The 4-piece set bonus of Shimenawa states that if the character has 15 or more energy, 15 energy is consumed, and their normal, charge, and plunging damage is increased by 50% for 10 seconds. Finally, the set out of left field, Gilded Dreams. This 2-piece set bonus for this set gives 80 elemental mastery. Since Hu Tao mainly focuses on being in vaporize or melt teams, the extra elemental mastery is definitely helpful. The 4-piece set bonus states that within 8 seconds of creating an elemental reaction, the character will obtain buffs based on the elemental type of the other party members. Attack will be increased by 14% for each party member whose elemental type is the same as the character equipping this set. Elemental Mastery, on the other hand, will be increased by 50 for each character whose elemental type is not the same as the character equipping this set. Because Hu Tao does best with other elements on her team, this set will be giving you a buff mostly to Elemental Mastery. If you do not have any good 4-piece sets for her, try getting some combinations of any of the following 2-piece sets: Crimson Witch of Flames, Gilded Dreams, Wanderer's Troop, Tenacity of the Millelith, Vorakasa's Glow, and Marechaussee Hunter. Going into artifact main stats and substats, Hu Tao might be a DPS character, but she does use HP to increase her attack to do more damage. Be sure to know this distinction when going after artifacts, since attack is therefore still good for Hu Tao, but HP is just better. Because of this, Hu Tao benefits the most from an HP percent Sands, a pyro damage bonus goblet, and a crit rate or crit damage circlet. You could also run an Elemental Mastery Sands instead of an HP percent Sands, but the HP percent Sands usually produces more damage for Hu Tao. The substats you should go after are HP percent, crit rate and crit damage, Elemental Mastery, and attack percent or energy recharge.
Although artifact sets and artifact stats are very important, the next major part of a character's build is their weapon. Hu Tao is both free-to-play friendly and veteran efficient. This is because she can use a few different 4-star and 5-star weapons. Her best in slot weapon will be her personal 5-star polearm, Staff of Homa. The main stat gives crit damage, so make sure to grab a crit rate circlet if you need the extra crit rate to balance out your crit ratio. The abilities on this weapon increase HP, provide an attack bonus based on HP, and if HP is less than 50%, the attack bonus is increased even more. Since her weapon and her talent both increase damage at lower HP, make sure to try to keep her at that lower HP. Another good 5-star could be Staff of the Scarlet Sands. The weapon gives crit rate as its main stat, and the ability of this polearm gives attack based on the Elemental Mastery. This definitely would be better if you ran an Elemental Mastery Sands on Hu Tao. Another 5-star weapon that can work on Hu Tao is Primordial Jadewing Spear. The main stat gives crit rate and the ability gives attack when hitting enemies, and it gives a damage increase as well. Her 4-star weapons aren't that bad either. She can use Dragon's Bane, which gives Elemental Mastery from its main stat, and Deathmatch, which has a main stat of crit rate. Even though Staff of the Scarlet Sands is a 5-star, Dragon's Bane on Hu Tao does better according to our testing we did on our last Hu Tao build guide. The last build guide for Hu Tao, I said, we crunched a lot of numbers to see theoretically what Hu Tao could do with Staff of Homa, Primordial Jadewing Spear, Dragon's Bane, and even Staff of the Scarlet Sands. At the end of the day, Hu Tao's best weapon is Staff of Homa, second place was Primordial, third place is Dragon's Bane, and fourth is Staff of the Scarlet Sands. And once again, that still rings true to this day. Hu Tao's 5-star personal 5-star weapon, Staff of Homa, will be her best in slot, but her entire kit all the way to her weapons are free-to-play friendly.
Following weapons, we now look at Hu Tao's 6 constellations. Her first constellation allows Hu Tao to not use stamina on charged attacks in her skill state. This allows Hu Tao to have more stamina and fully use her skill's duration of Pyro Infusion to get the most damage out. This is probably one of the best and most broken first constellations Genshin could offer. Her second constellation increases the Blood Blossom damage by 10% of Hu Tao's max HP. This constellation also applies the Blood Blossom effect on her burst hit. Her third and fifth constellations will increase the talent level of her skill and burst by 3 respectively. Her fourth constellation increases all party members' crit rate by 12% for 15 seconds when she defeats an opponent affected by the Blood Blossom effect. Her sixth constellation will trigger when her HP drops below 25% or when she suffers a lethal strike. This means that when Hu Tao takes a hit that would normally kill her, she will not die, and for the next 10 seconds, all of her elemental and physical resistance is increased by 200%, her crit rate is increased by 100%, and her resistance to interruption is increased. While all these constellations help Hu Tao and her party members, she is still an amazing damage dealer at Constellation 0. But if you do have her and have the Primogems, it might be a good point to take a look at the first constellation again.
Following constellations, we need to take a look at teams that Hu Tao can fit in. The best team Hu Tao usually does best in is Hu Tao, Yelan, Xingqiu, and Zhongli. Most likely, if you just got her and have had her on your mind for a while, you probably have these teammates already for her. This makes a good vaporized team, but I did mention a while ago that she could fit in melt teams as well. What we think the best melt team could be is Hu Tao, Rosaria, Shenhe, and Kazuha. The crazy amount of cryo with a Viridescent Shred character could help you out a lot. Diona can be substituted in for one of these cryo units, since Diona can heal and shield, and because her healing is not super impressive, Hu Tao does not have to worry about getting over that 50% HP mark. Kazuha can be substituted out for any Viridescent Venerer user like Sucrose, Venti, or Jean.
In this gameplay section, we will be using both of our Hu Taos to show you a higher invested Hu Tao with her first constellation and weapon at Refinement 2. This will be my Hu Tao, and for my vaporized team, I will be using Hu Tao, Yelan, Xingqiu, and Zhongli. My melt team will be Hu Tao, Layla, Kazuha, and Rosaria.
Now looking at my Hu Tao, she has very similar stats in comparison to Rift's Hu Tao, but I do not have that first constellation or that second refinement on my Staff of Homa. My vaporized team will be Hu Tao, Yelan, Kazuha, and Xingqiu. My melt team will be Hu Tao, Shenhe, Kazuha, and Diona. Starting out with Rift's teams, enjoy the gameplay. Thank you for watching the video. If you have any extra tips or tricks you know or use with your own Hu Tao, please go ahead and let us know in the comments. We do want to thank you guys once again for hitting our 1,000 subscriber goal. Thank you again, and we'll see you in the next one.